I'm already mad, but not mad. Let's see how Jim goes. He surprised me in the last
You know
one.
how I'm going to go.
So, I know how you're going to go. So, the N64 or the GameCube? We kind of danced around this because for a while there, we were doing a whole bunch of polls. So, we talked about best systems. So, we kind of got into it with the N64 and GameCube before. And here's the deal. I still believe the N64, if you're just talking about these two consoles, I think the N64 holds up as if you're at a party, somebody has one, you have 4 controllers, that is the party game. The multiplayer, like sit on the couch, you're playing GoldenEye, you're playing, Mario Kart, you're playing Smash Brothers, like you're playing something like that. GameCube had much better versions of most of those games. They clearly had the better version of Smash. It did have some great games, but I will also say it didn't have as many timeless, memorable games. But what's funny is if you go back and play the GameCube, there's no situation where you're going to sit there and not agree that the GameCube is more impressive technically. Sound, graphics, it's not a competition with that. I guess what Jim's getting at here is the overall just which is a better console. Because I know Jim is going to go N64, I'll just be devil's advocate and say GameCube for the reason that I think it personally had better versions of all the first party titles that were on the N64, but also that system was the reason why there was a Resident Evil 1 remake. There was a system that had crazy, incredible specs for games of the time, and it was one of the few, if not the only, Nintendo console since the NES and Super NES that could compete with modern consoles as far as technical capabilities. Since then, the Nintendo brand has taken a shitter. And I'm not saying it's made shit games. I'm saying the Wii specs don't compare to 360 and PS3. The Wii U is a complete garbage. The Switch doesn't, it holds some water, but it still doesn't quite compare to the Xbox One and PS4. The GameCube arguably could do games almost as good as the PS2 and Xbox, and in some cases might have done some games better. It also introduced some very unique titles that I think are underrated, like Godzilla Destroy All Monsters, Luigi's Mansion. There's just a whole litany of games that were really good that those games don't get appreciated, and debatably one of the most favorited versions of Smash ever. I still think the newest Smash Ultimate is the best, but Melee is obviously still hailed as a favorite for a lot of tournament fighters. And let me be very clear. I'm saying this because I know Jim's about to say N64 is better. So go ahead, Jim.
Well, it's clearly N64. Because here's the argument, Brian.
Let's hear.
Here's the argument.
Go ahead.
Besides Smash Melee, what we have said it 1,000 times before, that Nintendo lives and dies off its first-party IPs. What first-party IP on the GameCube is better or more impactful than the one that was on the N64?
What do you mean?
Like, which one is, like, if you put them side by side, like the first-party games, the ones people care about, between N64 and GameCube, and you take Smash out of it, which console has the games that people are going to go to?
Think the Zelda games are better on the GameCube because Ocarina of Time is overrated.
Oh, you were doing this just out of spite. You were doing this out of spite, you fucking liar. You piece of shit.
I think the only first party game that's actually better is Mario 64. Wait, did GameCube even have a Mario Kart game? It didn't.
No,
right?
it did. It had Double Dash.
Oh, see, I didn't even know about that. So
point for me.
Double Dash. What about the party games? As long as there was a party game on the GameCube, it was better.
GameCube. Jesus fucking Christ.
It was better.
It was not better.
Because here's the deal: Mario Party games, just like all those other games,
It is the quality of the party games in them.
I may be fucking around with Ocarina of Time, but what I'm serious about party games, they progressively get better. Just like the Mario Kart games, just like the Smash Brothers games. The newest system will have a better version. You might have preferences for how you play them. And granted, like, I don't know, 2 other friends of mine when we were growing up even had a GameCube. So not a lot of people even had it to play party games, but everyone had an N64. And I get that. And once again, it's tough because I'm trying to play devil's advocate here, but
you are stretching.
If I'm giving anything to the N64,
right, you're like a guy with foreskin in the paint can right now. That's how much you're stretching right now.
Here's the deal: you take out Mario 64, which is clearly okay, best Mario game. Fine, I'll still say Luigi's Mansion was better, but. You take out
well, you have direct
Mario Kart
comparisons. You have Mario versus Mario Sunshine,
which I know nothing about Mario Sunshine, so I can't compare. Mario Kart 64 versus what was it, Double Dash?
Double Dash.
I'm sure Double Dash was better, but nobody played it, so everyone's gonna say 64 because that was the thing. Obviously Ocarina of Time was worse than whatever was on the GameCube.
Wind Waker and Twilight.
Because you
had Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask versus Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, which was really more.
Yeah, Twilight Princess was really way better. Yeah, no, actually, no. There you go. Because we felt the need, just like Wii U is technically the one that has Breath of Wild, but nobody considers that. Right. Yeah, Twilight Princess is better than both those fucking titles. The only thing that N64 really had was better wrestling games. You really boil it down. GoldenEye aged like shit. Nightfire aged much better. And it came out for all consoles, but it wasn't exclusive. So there you go. So, the N64, just in general, you put that music next to the GameCube, it ain't going to hold up. Graphically, it sure as shit ain't going to hold up. And Resident Evil Remake, and I'm dropping the mic on that.
You mean the game that got ported everywhere? That was only an exclusive for a little bit because of the deal with Capcom, which Capcom went, fuck the GameCube. We're going to put it on other games because we actually wanted to sell.
Well, Resident Evil Remake didn't come out till Xbox One.
No, it came out on...
Well, no, wait, PS2. I'm sorry, 360.
Resident Evil Remake was on the PS2.
No,
oh, no.
It wasn't.
Oh, no, the remake wasn't, but Resident Evil 4 was, which is the one that people... Which is the big one.
I don't give 2 shits about 4. I'm talking about the remake, Jim. So, there you go. GameCube's better. So I think we close that out pretty nicely.
Just as good with the N64. You have Resident Evil 2. We have a great version of Resident Evil 2 on the N64.
That was such a bullshit. Oh my god. That would have tanked. Thank God that didn't first come out on N64. That would have tanked the whole Resident Evil series. Oh, that piece of shit. But
okay, so you're going to say you're going to play Mario Sunshine over 64. You're going to play Double Dash over Mario 64.
Oh, wait. Also, let's not forget, GameCube actually had good fighting games on it, and it had a better Metroid game.
Actually, N64 didn't have any Metroid games.
Oh, looks like I won that one. Boom, motherfucker.
Well, it just replaced it. You had Metroid on the GameCube. You had GoldenEye and Perfect Dark on the N64. Those are your flagship first-person shooters on there.
Yeah, they aged terribly, and Nightfire was better. So
I'm going to say that's a wash between those 2 games right there.
Yeah, so GoldenEye and Nightfire washed each other. So then you just left with Metroid.
Star Fox 64, way better than either Adventures or Assault.
Yeah, but Star Fox 64 is such a simp
game. The party games you brought up, everyone loves 1 through 3 way more than 4, 5, and 6. No one cares about them. And I think 7. I think you actually had more games on the GameCube.
Smash Brothers Melee.
Yes, Melee is better than the first one. The first one was basically a
Melee. Godzilla.
That was on everything. That doesn't count.
Need for Speed.
That was on everything. That doesn't count.
It does count because it wasn't on the N64, was it, motherfucker? We're only talking about the N64 and the GameCube, aren't we?
Right, fine. Fuck with your
We knew N64 was the worst port of anything between that and the PlayStation.
Your argument every single goddamn time.
Oh,
and you're
wait,
Johnny
wait,
Consistency
no.
here, motherfucker. You're
Wait. Let me back it up. Let me back it up.
Games.
I'm gonna back up one thing. This was one of the few. Actually, it's not backing up. It's repeating what I said. N64 was notorious for having the worst adaptations of other third-party games compared to the PS1, whereas GameCube, their ports could actually hold up to other systems. Not saying they were always the best, but they could be a little bit more competitive.
PS2 was actually
N64,
the weakest generation.
The N64 fucked things up all the time, as we saw. So, I think I win that one. Even though I'm just playing devil's advocate, I think I win this one, Jim.
Piece of shit. Goddamn godless liar.
And you know what? Fuck you, because the N64 didn't have a handle you could carry it with. Boom. Boom. And let's not even... Do you even want me to pull it out and put it on the table that the controller is way better for the fucking GameCube? Because that's obvious. Because people still want the game. People still want a GameCube controller to compete with goddamn Super Smash Brothers, and no one's begging for the goddamn dick controller of the N64 unless your name is
The only argument the GameCube has is Smash and the controller. I'll give them that.
And Resident Evil and Twilight Princess and Metroid and controller and graphics and sound. But yeah, everything else, you're right.
That isn't a fair argument.
Exactly. That's my point. That's like if you were like, well, let's compare the Ford Model T to a 64 Mustang.
Actually, fuck you, motherfucker.
I'm going to bring up the fact that one goes better.
It's more impressive than the PS1s. It was just hard to
No,
program
it's
for because
not.
of that stupid
No,
cartridges.
it's
Yes, it is.
not.
Look it up.
No,
Look it up.
it's not.
Fucking tech dork.
Wait, why did N64 lose the PS1? Because everyone was depressed? Because shit looked better.
Cartridges. That's why it lost.
Because shit looked better. Listen, Jim, as I know you're someone who doesn't appreciate music, music in games is important. And shit sounded better on the GameCube. Shit looked better on the GameCube. Shit played better on the GameCube. Yeah, they had stupid small CDs, but guess what? That's how times go, Jim.
Look, Ryan, just because the TurboGrafx is better than the NES doesn't make it a better system. All right?
You're right. It doesn't.
The N64 just
but
has
we're
a
not
better
talking
hardware
about
overall.
Now. Listen, if you want to do TurboGrafx versus N64, I'd be happy to school you in that conversation too. But right now, we're talking N64 or GameCube, and I've already won because I had to play devil's advocate. Right. Because
make that a segment. We'll see what the peanut gallery says.
Oh, I think there's no chance that anyone agrees with me on this one, Jim. Considering what our Twitter is, the fact that I said Ocarina of Time is overrated, which I'm not joking about.
Actually, a lot of people that's actually twisted. Like if
he plays a flute.
If it was like 2014 when like Watch Mojo was still playing that #1 game of all time, then maybe. But the tides have turned on Ocarina a lot.
No, it's overrated.
I mean actually, that's a divide right there. 2D versus 3D Zelda. There's a which is better. Whew.
Ooh.
I'm gonna have to put that in for the next episode. I'm gonna do that right now.
You guys let us know below what you think